Hashtag Team David. Yeah. Okay, just so you guys understand right off the bat, there's some lag time on this, okay? There's about 6 seconds between when you see me and when I see your comment. So, like, be calm if I don't see it right away. All I'm doing is testing some new software real quick. I'm not going to be on here very long, but I'll look through the comments as we go, try and keep track of those. And if anybody has any questions for me, I'll try and answer them. Can you guys hear me okay? How's the audio? Can you give me a 1 for good audio, a 2 for not good audio? One for good audio, 2 for not good. Okay, 1, 2, 3 doesn't help me, Joe. You're just trying to confuse me. Okay, lots of 1s. All right. Okay, guys, that's good. You can stop with the 1s now. My math's not that good. Let's see what we got. Have you seen the school video? This is from Misty Knight. And guys, I know the lighting's not real good. Just bear with me. I've got better lighting. Just not up to getting that going tonight. We'll see. Have I seen the video of the 11-year-old child being body slammed twice in the school? Yes, I did see that video, and my understanding is that officer has been criminally charged and fired. That was a sheriff's deputy in Florida, if I recall correctly. Okay, I'm scrolling through here. Looks like a floating head. Xbox Thief, thank you. I see that donation. You got alert on your phone, but not your laptop. Okay. Holly, I see you. Okay, I'm trying to scroll through the comments here, guys. Understand, I'm an old guy, and technology is not my strongest point. Can you tell me what states you must identify yourself and which states you do not? Nevada is a stop and ID state. I can't tell you which states are and are not. You can Google that and get it. But Nevada is a stop and ID state. They actually have a higher court decision from just a few years ago about their stop and ID statutes. I don't recall the name of it right off the top of my head right this instant. A lot of guys named Jeff in here. Yes, there are. Thanking you, News Now Houston. Don't thank me. I haven't done anything but sit here and read your chat. And approve a few people. I don't see any of my wrenches. None of my wrenches are here. Cary County just got assaulted and battered. I am awesome. Hey, Julie, I'm glad you think so. I'm just a guy with a camera. No better, no worse than anybody else. Claiborne, Texas. Claiborne, Texas. Okay, I'll put that on my list of places to stop and visit. Yes, Las Vegas Metro Police are corrupt. We have seen plenty of evidence of that. But the question is, Mad Cat, what are you going to do about it? You know, you live there. Start getting people together. Start getting you some elected officials in positions where they can fight that corruption. You know what the biggest part of the corruption comes from? The police union there. So, you know, you're there. Do something. Organize. Get some people in political positions where they can do something about it. And that goes for everywhere. It's not just Nevada, but if you're someplace where, you know, police misconduct and the unions are a problem, step up. Step up, run for election yourself. All right, let me go back over here. You need me in Wisconsin? Man, it's awful cold in Wisconsin right now. Sorry. He was fired for body slamming that girl. Yes, Pinellas County, Florida. Okay. Oh, man. I shouldn't be buffering. Am I buffering, guys? Cop was shot And the head behind police department in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Yeah, they caught the guy that did that. Do not let the sector unionize. You know, I'm not anti-union. Unions were originally formed to ensure that people had fair and safe working conditions and, reasonable pay. I'm not against the unions. I am against police unions because police unions have exploited their positions and they now fund politicians. I'll give you a for instance. The state of Louisiana, it is almost impossible to get into an elected position in the state of Louisiana unless you have the endorsement of the police unions and Fraternal Order of Police. What do you have to do to get those endorsements? Well, you owe them a favor. And that's the problem. That's a good portion of the problem. So we need to take that part of it away from them, to take them out of the political system. Oh, let's see. What else we got here? Yeah, whoever said I was buffering, I think it's on your end. The Texas Panhandle had good reviews except for the federal side. Actually, I didn't have a lot of trouble when I went up the Texas Panhandle. The police up there were very well behaved, and I honestly can't say a whole lot of bad things about them up there. I'm sure that there are some bad cops up there, but you know, I'd have to spend more time up there digging and trying to find them. Now, when you get below the Panhandle, you get down around like Abilene. Boy, there's tons of crooked cops around Abilene. I don't have anything good to say about Abilene City Police Department. Nothing at all. They're pretty bad. They're pretty bad. For those of you who have not seen that video, I ran into a lieutenant at the sheriff's department at the county jail who came out demanding ID over and over and over and over and over. And of course, after that was over with, Abilene PD, which are the ones that run the fusion center there, put out an alert on me. So I had left the area, and I came back a couple days later, and they knew I was in town instantly. And so I walked inside the police station, and above the lobby is an open office area, and you can hear the officers up there talking. Well, as I'm standing downstairs, just kind of looking at the artwork in the lobby and stuff, I can hear a couple of detectives up there having a conversation about me. So I hollered up at them. So, they're talking about what do I drive, and I had that white Ford Ranger at the time. There's one of them asked the other, is it an extended cab or a regular cab? So I hollered up at them. I said, "That's regular cab. Did you want the license plate number?" I said, "Come on down here. I'll give it to you." They were not happy. They were not happy with me at all. It is just one of those things. I just happened to walk into it. It wasn't something that was planned or schemed or anything. And then not long after that, there's a couple of their fusion center or intelligence division people came and caught me on the street. They'd been following me around town, and they're just stupid. Absolutely stupid. I had a good conversation with Justin Pulliam today. We were talking about the fusion centers and how nobody's ever heard of a fusion center until I came along. Nobody ever talked about fusion centers, and I was not the first, auditor or civil rights activist. I prefer to be called a civil rights activist because I don't just do, First Amendment audits. That's not all I do. But nobody ever, all the guys that were around, there weren't that many. Okay, there was the Batusai out of Austin and Jeff Gray. Those are really the only two that I can remember. I'm sure there were more, so don't anybody feel slighted. But, nobody was talking about the fusion centers. And I came up, kind of fell into knowledge of the fusion centers. They came on my radar purely by accident. And then as I dug into what they were and what their intended purposes were, I began to see that the system was ripe for abuse. The fusion centers are tasked with, monitoring social media and monitoring people with ties to terrorism or terrorist groups. Now, their policy dictates that they're not supposed to monitor activists absent, ties to terrorism. I can tell you, I don't have any ties to terrorism, and I am not a terrorist. The only people that really have any need to fear me are people that think they're above the law, crooked cops, things like that, crooked corporations that want to abuse their relationship with police, things like that. So the fusion centers, what they do to work around that policy is, when police officers encounter you and deal with you, the police officers will put in their report that you're a sovereign citizen. Now, sovereign citizens are considered domestic terrorists here in the United States because some of them have committed acts of violence towards law enforcement, basically resisted the government, which is their right. Okay? I'm not saying that you should go out and do that. I'm just saying that, somebody is dissatisfied with the government for whatever reason. It is their right to resist the government up to and including with violence. That's what the Constitution's for. You don't have to agree with it. I don't have to agree with it. But it is an individual's right to resist what he perceives to be tyranny in the government. So some of these sovereign citizens have gone out and committed acts of violence towards government officials and law enforcement. So, of course, the government is terrorized of them, declares them domestic terrorists. And so what they do, hold on, so that they can be within policy, is these officers declare you as being or having ties to sovereign citizens, and then the fusion centers get to watch you and get warrants to monitor your phones and your social media and blah, blah, blah. In reality, the problem with the fusion centers is they can't catch real terrorists. They can't do it. So they have to have something to do. So they end up doing exactly what their policy says they should not be doing, monitoring activists and law-abiding citizens that have expressed dissatisfaction with law enforcement. If you are critical or criticize law enforcement, you are their enemy. Law enforcement does not like people who can think independently and vocalize, that they do wrong, or what they're doing is wrong in whatever instance. If you do that, you are their enemy. It's that simple. And I have been very good at catching bad cops. And I have been very expressive in my views on bad cops. But I am the farthest thing from a sovereign citizen you've probably ever heard of. I have never espoused radical views about overthrowing the government, or never espoused any time that I would support acts of violence against any person or agency or anything like that. I've never said anything like that. The only time I've ever said anything close to that was when I had some constables publishing, that I caught being stupid, publishing the home addresses and names of my children. And so I put up a video and I said, basically, hey, if you can do it, I can do it. Yes, it's a criminal act when I do it, but I'll take that chance and I'll fight that in court. And if you can get the DA to charge me, but if you continue to post, my family's information, I'm going to return the favor. That had the desired effect. The information was removed and not posted again. So I don't think that you can find a video where I have ever espoused that I would support acts of violence against anybody. Now, that has been my view in the past. those views are evolving. But we'll get into that another time. So, let me see what we got here. By the way, there is they just renewed the warrant to monitor my cell phone conversations and stuff. Stupid people. It's stupid. I'm trying to read this. David or anyone, thoughts on somebody's dead? No, I don't have any thoughts on him. I don't have anything against that dude. He blamed me. Somebody took down his channel and I got blamed for it. I didn't have anything to do with it. Didn't know who the guy was. Apparently I met him before, but I honestly don't remember. When I go to these events, I might meet 50 people, total strangers. I meet them one time and never meet them again. It's not personal. I just don't think, I just don't remember people like that. Unless I have an extended conversation with them about something, like that. But I never did with that guy. I don't even know what his name is. Don't know anything about the impeachment hearings. I'm not going to get into that political stuff. It's not relevant to me. You want to know what I think about it? I think it doesn't matter who we put in the Oval Office. They're going to do wrong. We put all these rich people in positions of power, and basically they just do what they do and nothing ever comes of it. They're not doing anything for the poor in this country. They're not doing anything for most of the middle class. They do for their rich buddies. And that's part of the problem. You want to change this country? You really want to change this country? Start voting for poor people. Let's put a homeless guy in the Oval Office. See how that works out. You can't put me in the Oval Office because they'll kill me in a week. But we can put somebody in there that's not a rich guy, that's not a rich gal, that's not part of the good old boy network, wherever that is, that isn't beholden to these corporations and special interests and stuff. Just a regular guy. Better yet, regular woman. A single mom. Somebody that's had to struggle and fight and just to get by and feed her children. Because she understands what it's like. She understands the struggle that normal, average people go through. Put somebody like that in the Oval Office, we'll get some change. We'll get some real change. I don't care about Democrats. I don't care about Republicans. I don't vote for people based on their party affiliation. I vote for people based on their position on issues. And that's it. So let me go back to the comments here. Let me see. Willie Nelson for president. Willie Nelson would make an interesting president. I could get behind Willie Nelson. All you guys that want to legalize marijuana, hey, Willie's your man. I lost that comment. Sorry. Thoughts about Virginia? I do have some thoughts about Virginia. I think that if that type of activity keeps up, that we will see the next civil war in my lifetime. That's what I think. Because the people that don't want you to have guns, they're going to pass all the laws they can to take guns from you. But when they come knocking on your door to get your guns, are they going to have guns? They're going to have to. Because how many of you know the number one rule of history? I'm looking in the comments here. Let's see if anybody knows the number one rule of history. Nobody's getting it. All right. I'm going to tell you the number one rule of history, and I learned this while I was in the military. traveling to countries and seeing things that were really interesting. The number one rule of history is the people with the guns make the rules. Number one rule of history. The people with the guns make the rules. Hitler knew it. Stalin knew it. Mao knows it. Okay? Because if you don't have guns, trying to resist the government is futile. They'll just slaughter you. Plain and simple. I think I'm buffering now. I see a little thing going around here. There it goes. If you don't have guns, you have no hope of fighting the government, unfortunately. So when you see the government trying to take your guns from you, or people in the government who want to take your guns from you, something's wrong. They have ulterior motives. They have other plans. It's that simple. If you want to see what the government does to unarmed citizens, all you have to do is look at cities like Chicago, Washington, D.C., New York City. Criminals have guns, and government officials and cops have guns. Everybody else is at their mercy. And government officials are abusive and dishonest, and they're not held in check because the people have no way to fight them. Now, a lot of that has been overturned in recent court decisions and stuff, but it's the reality. It's the truth of the situation. An armed populace is a polite populace. Armed citizens are just that. Unarmed citizens aren't citizens, they're slaves. And if you think that the government won't take advantage of your being disarmed, you're wrong. You're wrong. Just look at history. History is the best example there is. Look at any country where the government has come in and disarmed. Nazi Germany is a good example. Perfect example. Russia. I mean, every time you go in and disarm the citizens, you make them victims. You make them victims of criminals. You make them victims of the state. Yeah, Darabuka. It's easy to say that. It's easy to say that the government won't take my guns. I'll fight. But there are consequences for fighting. You can be killed. You can be jailed. So what the government counts on is that you're not prepared to lose that new Ford truck or Dodge truck or whatever truck you got, and that 60-inch big screen TV, and that nice house you got, and that nice Harley that you're able to afford. So you get all these things, and they're playing on the fact that you're afraid to lose that stuff. And so that you won't stand up and you won't resist. You'll just go along to get along. And unfortunately, that is part of the problem. That has been part of the problem for quite some time. Propaganda is more powerful than guns. Sometimes, I'll agree with that. The higher the gun ownership, the lower the crime rate. Absolutely. 100%. Like to talk about places like Switzerland. Every adult male in Switzerland over the age of 18 must do a stint in the military, and then they are armed. They must have a handgun and a submachine gun, and I think 2,000 rounds for each weapon. When was the last time anybody documented a burglary of a residence in Switzerland? I'm sure it happens, but man, I wouldn't want to be breaking in somebody's house over there. So think about that. Yes, Hong Kong, China, North Korea, It's what happens when they take your guns. History repeats itself. Remember that. So we will see another civil war. It's going to happen. It's going to happen here. And if you no, it can't happen. Yes, it can. And I'm very fortunate to be in Texas, because if you do a little research, you will find that, Texas has its own electric grid. Texas has its own power generating stations. Texas has its own economy, basically. We have oil here. We have mining here. We have a little of everything. And so we could create our own economy to sustain ourselves. Most of the United States are on the old electric grid, and it's broken up and easy to disable and keep down. So Texas could, I think, sustain itself if it were to secede from the Union, or there was civil unrest. And plus, I think I think that they calculated how many guns were in Texas, and it was something like 7 to a person or something like that. That's a lot of guns. And there are quite a few Texans that would not mind fighting. Once Russia disarmed everyone, they controlled them by food rationing. No strength to fight when you are weakened with hunger. No way to hunt or defend. Absolutely, Johnny. You are correct. You are correct. Gun control is being able to hit your target. There you go. Absolutely. Absolutely. We would lose a lot of rights in Texas if we seceded from the Union. I don't know about that. There's a lot of freedom-minded people here. Would we lose a lot of rights? I don't know. I think that, it's hard to say. I will tell you this. I would rather be here than California, or New York State, or Illinois. Okay, I know that I stand a better chance of having an equitable system here in place than I would probably anywhere else in the United States. I honestly believe that. And all you guys in California that are saying, "Oh, I'm moving to Texas," don't. No, we got enough Californians here. They have taken over Austin. They are working hard to convert Texas to California. We don't need any more Californians. Y'all stay where you're at. Matter of fact, make a road trip down here for Christmas and take some of these people that jumped ship from California already. Take them back. Thank you. Oh, let's see. 8.3 guns per 100 inhabitants. Yeah, that sounds good. It's not just the Democrats. It's not just the Democrats trying to take your guns. If you think that the Republicans are friendly towards your guns, you are wrong. It is politicians in general. Not all Californians are shitheads, David. Okay, SoCal, I'm sorry. My bad. I was actually kind of being facetious, but, what's that old adage about power? Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So you put people in Washington, we pay them ungodly amounts of money to be there, and they get special interest money. They get just ridiculous benefits. And you think that they care about you or your rights. No, they care about the people that are giving them money, the special interest groups and stuff like that. They could care less about us. It's very telling in this country. Early on in our history, we had laws on the books that allowed us, regular citizens, if you caught a politician with his hand in the till, it was a capital offense. I mean, we would execute crooked politicians. One of the first things they did as they became powerful enough was to outlaw executing crooked politicians. Why? Why do you think that is? If you're not crooked, what do you got to fear? Nothing. So that's where it started. Our republic was set up to run, I think, 100 years is what, was it Jefferson or Franklin that said that? I have to think about it for a minute. And then he said after 100 years, it would be so corrupt, we'd have to tear it down and start again. Well, here we are 230 years into this. And I'm thinking it's time. I'm thinking it's overdue. I mean, we've got to do something to clean up Washington. Look at the career politicians there. You know, they got to go. We need term limits. You know, we have term limits on the president. Why don't we have term limits on the Congress? You know, or the House? You know, these people should not go up there and make a career out of sitting in a chair telling us what's good for us. They have their own retirement system. Why? If Social Security is good enough for you, why isn't it good enough for the people in Washington, D.C.? Think about that. Social Security is good enough for you, but it's not good enough for those people in Congress or the House. So why do they care? Why should they care if Social Security is any good or Medicare is any good? Doesn't affect them one way or the other. They should have to live with the same system we do. And they need term limits. They should not be able to go up there and live off of us forever. They lose track of, they lose their connection with reality. Correct, Johnny. You're absolutely correct. Congress used to only meet a few times a year, and being elected was considered to be a burden because it took you away from your work and home. It was a part-time job, and that's what it was meant to be. But, that's not the case anymore. And, you look at the congressmen, they've got, like we've got a congressman here, what's his name? Or it's not congressman, he's from the House. McCall. He's got like 4 offices here in the state of Texas, spread out between Austin and Houston and Katy. And, who needs that? He's spending $3,000-$4,000 per office. For what? For what? Put the dude in the back seat of a car and give him a cell phone. There's your office. Anyway, I need to get off my soapbox. I know you guys didn't come here for this. So, term limits, Jeff. Term limits will not fix corporations spending billions of dollars to lobby or Congress members taking jobs with a corporation getting paid millions after they made laws that benefit said corporation. Absolutely right. 100% absolutely right. And I am running into this. How many of you have ever heard the story of Karen Silkwood? How many of you know that? Who Karen Silkwood is? Karen Silkwood worked for a nuclear facility, a nuclear power plant. And she was exposed to radiation poisoning, and she documented safety violations and reported them. And so what ended up happening was she was murdered. She was murdered. She was murdered to silence her. I'd urge you guys to Google her name and go read her story and learn her story. Also, go Google fusion centers and learn about fusion centers. Our government is becoming more and more intrusive into our lives. And it's all in the name of fighting terrorism. Yet how many terrorists do they catch? How many? They're spending billions of dollars. And when they'll say, we're spending billions of dollars and we're catching them and you just don't know about it, or we're scaring them away. But no. If they were busy chasing terrorists, real terrorists, they wouldn't have time to be monitoring me or Jack or Justin or Todd or Jeff Gray or any one of another 1,000 people I can name. They would be busy chasing real terrorists and real criminals, not people who are critical of the police. But you see, if you're critical of the police, you threaten their power base. A lot of Edward Snowden, yes, a lot of Edward Snowden is a whistleblower, and you see what the government does to him. Again, a lot of people are like, why would the government be so worried about you? Well, it's because you guys are listening to me. Like I said, who had ever heard of fusion centers before I started talking about them? Can you think of anybody that ever mentioned fusion centers before me? Can you think of how many times you've heard me or other auditors say, is that a misdemeanor or a felony? Or referred to the police narrative as propaganda? Or I came in by parachute. You guys listen to me, and Big Boots, that's a good idea. I don't know how it would play out in practice. Xbox Thief, will you do an audit again? Yes, I've been out doing audits. So I've got some that I need to get up. The government doesn't like people who are dangerous and taking power from them. That makes you dangerous. That makes you a threat. And so they target those people. And big corporations, they pay lots and lots and lots of money in taxes. And so they generally come to Miles Davis. They come to have influence, a lot of influence. For instance, Shell in Deer Park pays, hold on, Johnny, outlawing class action law, consolidating power, enforcing non-disclosure agreements to hide wrongdoing and harm. Yeah. Shell in Deer Park pays millions, double-digit millions to the city of Deer Park in taxes. That's why Deer Park police drive brand new vehicles, have the best equipment you can get, a brand new police station, got, just basically anything they want, because the city can afford to just buy them whatever they want. And you have off-duty police officers working for Shell for over $100 an hour for doing nothing. And you think that those off-duty officers getting that kind of money aren't going to protect the hand that feeds them? Even if it means doing something crooked? Do you think the city of Deer Park is not going to want to keep a corporation that gives them millions of dollars a year in tax money? Do you think they're not going to want to keep them happy? I'll tell you, if you think that they don't, you're wrong. You're wrong. Shell owns the city of Deer Park, and the police department there is nothing but hired mercenaries for Shell. I have documented personally, back when I was first arrested by the sheriff's department at Shell, I talked to deputies who had worked there previously. And basically, if Shell Security said to arrest somebody, the deputies would arrest them no matter what. They'd make up a charge, arrest them, put them in jail, and that's just it. That's just it. Look at, forget me. Look at Philip Turner. Philip Turner was grabbed while standing on a public sidewalk, pulled onto Shell property, put up against the fence, and then arrested for criminal trespass. Never given the opportunity to leave, nothing. Okay? That happened because Shell's security said, do it. Now, if they can do that, And it was all on camera. It's all on video. If they can do that, what stops them from doing anything else? The deputies that I talked to and have sworn statements from that were released from Shell were released because they would not file fake charges on people. And so, has that changed? I think it's changed a little. I've been out there, and now the deputies, the Harris County Sheriff's deputies that are working there, do not come outside the fence. Deer Park PD will come out there and harass you and give you a hard time if you show up out there. But when it comes to me, Deer Park PD has been hands off, and Shell has not been happy about that. So the last time I was out there, they called Precinct 8 constables, who I have never seen out there. And when they showed up, they basically wouldn't do what Shell wanted either. And basically what the Shell security guys were doing, and there is a video on my channel of this, was telling them, arrest him. Arrest him for standing on a public sidewalk outside our facility. It worked once, but it has not worked again since. Now, they have taken other action in filing false criminal charges against me, but that's a story for another day. What do we do? What do we do to make it change? You know, now that it's exposed, the next step is changing the government in Deer Park, changing the leadership in Deer Park. And there are people that I speak to and deal with that are poised to do just that. They got here, Johnny. Cops enforcing for private corporations is essentially the rebirth of the East India Company. Cops working for these corporations become paid mercenaries. When they will arrest an innocent person and put him in jail simply because they can, and they lie to do it, they are paid mercenaries and nothing else. And I cannot say that there is an honest cop in the city of Deer Park, and I'm going to justify that for you, because the department as a whole is so corrupt. If there were an honest cop there, he wouldn't work there. An honest cop will not work for a corrupt department. He might work for a department that's a little corrupt, okay, but not a department like Deer Park PD. Deer Park PD is nothing but hired mercenaries. They do not serve the citizens of Deer Park. They serve the almighty dollar. They serve Shell Oil Company. So there are people that are poised to get into positions of power there, and then there will be some changes. But we're not there yet. And I don't know when we're going to get there. And honestly, I have bigger fish to fry at the moment. But I can tell you that that won't always be the case. So, all right, let me see. Let me go back to comments. Anybody got any questions? Come on, guys. Somebody got a question for me here. I know you do. Yeah. Hashtag Team David, hoorah. You look like in the year 2000. Was Timothy McVeigh a terrorist or a champion of the people? SOH, how about Timothy McVeigh was a patsy? Do some research on the Oklahoma City bombing. There are demolition experts who do not work for the government. Okay, don't trust anything the government has to say. There are demolition experts who do not work for or are not influenced by the government, and they have some very strong opinions about the damage to the building and what it looks like. And and there were other issues too, like ATF was told to stay out of the building, blah, 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 blah. I do not believe Timothy McVeigh was the originator of that attack. Was he involved? Was he a patsy? I believe he was a patsy. Keep in mind that the government isolated him and would not allow him to communicate with the public. Why? Why? Think about that. Can you charge money for talking to the cops? What happened to Chief Saggy Vagina? Nothing. He's still over there for right now. Trying to keep up here, man. You guys are posting quick. Ray Rockwood. You're disappointed in the way I handle criticism from Merb. You know, if you're going to criticize me, it's really simple. Okay? You want to criticize what I do and how I do it, go do it yourself. Show me how it's done. Don't talk to me about how it should be done if you've never done it. All right? If you've never been jacked up by the cops, you don't know how it goes, how it works. If you've never done a real audit, you don't know what's what. And so if you're going to sit there and armchair quarterback me, you know, I'm not going to listen to you. So that's it. Let's see. Timothy McVeigh is still alive. I don't think he is. They needed to shut him up just like they needed to shut up Oswald. I don't think he's still alive at all. Have I ever posted with Furry? No, I've met Furry, but I have never posted with Furry or done any audits with Furry. I've not had the opportunity. Would I? Sure, absolutely. I like Furry. David, did you cover the recent chemical plant explosion? I did not. I wasn't going nowhere near that place and have them blame me for it. Nope. First time I showed up there, they'd have swore up and down I did it. So I stayed away. Yep. Haters is all they are. You are correct. There's actually, those haters are actually currently attacking my son's channel, trying to get his channel demonetized. They can't hurt me. They've already demonetized this channel. So now they are trying to get this channel removed and taken down. And they're going at, and failing that, they're going after my son's monetization. That move is being spearheaded by Felipe Hemming as a retaliatory witness intimidation kind of thing. And I have been in touch with the LA County District Attorney's Office and the California State Bar about it. The bar has not been real responsive. I have asked them and demanded that they immediately pull Krista's license. So they've not responded to that, but they have assisted with the LA County District Attorney, but that's not good enough. That's not good enough. When, you know, I've been victimized by these people, and, you know, the state of California is standing by and allowing them to victimize me again and again and again. And not only that, but they're permitted to target and victimize my kids. It's wrong. Have I reached my peak? Oh no. Oh no. No. I'm not done. I am not done by a long shot. Once I get clear of this stuff I got going on, I am going to be a monster. An absolute monster. Let's see. F Off Productions. Hello, how you doing? How about scanners? Justin Pulliam is the scanner guy. Justin knows everything there is to know about scanners. Holler at Justin if you need scanner advice. You know, Big Boots, I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something. And I have to be careful how I word it. Felipe is not being watched by the government. They don't need to watch Felipe. You figure out why. Let me see. I gotta get back over here. Hey guys, yeah, let me see. Hold on. So there's 380 some odd people watching this and only 168 likes. Come on, guys. There should be at least 200 likes there, because I know that the other 180 people are cops. He's just monitoring me, Fusion Center. I think when I go live, every Fusion Center in the United States lights up with a red light. You know, it's like, woo, 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 so they can check me out and see what I'm saying. Hassan, News Now Community. Could somebody post, one of the mods post a link to my son's channel? It's actually, all right, so the channel, the channel is run by one of my sons, one of my daughters, and another relative. Okay, it is overseen by them. They host some of my content there, amongst other things. Zach, I covered that. There's a video out about it. I've covered it previously. Where is the like button? It's the thumbs up. It's the thumbs up. Oh, we're up to 242, 243. Likes are going up. Google user. Auditing constitutional activists, and I've tried to help you guys last year creating resources per state. There has been some movement forward behind the scenes on that. Are you working on anything you can tell us about? Absolutely. I've been putting some time into working on my sailboat, getting it ready to go. I anticipate a trip come spring. Where I'm going, it's not a big secret, but I'm not talking about it. So I've been working on that. Right now I'm trying to come up with a couple $100 to equip the boat with a new VHF and wire it with a new antenna and some wiring and stuff, just minor stuff. The engine is actually being serviced right now. I have a mechanic that when I worked for the boat clubs, used to work over there for us, and he is a very capable guy, and he's doing a full prep and service on the Yamaha outboard. Seth, you're probably seeing old videos when I do that, because I have not done that in a very long time. United, because he will get out and do some audits with me once I'm clear of this mess that I've got going on. The reason that he is not currently is because it would expose him to danger. A lot of you guys don't know, or maybe you aren't paying attention, but I have had repeated death threats. My son was followed from, my residence to his work, and they started harassing him at work and got him fired. I have had Teresa and Kevin out here pointing guns at me and threatening me. I mean, it's just been ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. The Manson Merb cult has been in full swing coming after me, and they're not done. They're not done. They have eased up a little bit, but they are not done. Thus far, there have been no criminal charges against any of them, but I know that the Harris County District Attorney's Office is looking at a couple of them for some stuff, and the Galveston County District Attorney is looking at some of them for some stuff. Who should you turn to if not Felipe? Turn to for what? SOH, what are you turning to for? Recommend a GoPro and a handheld camera. Brian, I use the Canon Vixias. You can get them used on eBay for $100 or so. And GoPro makes a good body camera. I use the Hero 2 is primarily what I use. I also have a Hero 6 that a subscriber gave me that I use that is really good, but I try to limit its use because it's such a nice camera. I don't want it to get broken. If you can't afford a GoPro, look at the Mobius cameras. Let me see what we got here. Hemming tried to get me to turn. Maybe that is why they raided my home and took my guns. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. Yeah, I cannot, yes, Mobius, Troy, Mobius camera. Make sure you get it with the Galena Park Police Station. I've been there. Make sure you get it with the wide angle lens. They have two lenses, an A and a B, and I believe the A lens is 140 degree fisheye. That's the one you want. Highly recommend the Mobius. They're good multi-purpose cameras. I have 3 or 4 of them. Use them for dash cams, use them for all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. SOH. Okay, first off, the community is so widespread. You're in different states, all right? One lawyer can't do it. You need to develop a relationship with a lawyer in your area. Find one that likes to do civil rights stuff. Find one that likes or doesn't mind standing up to the government and crooked cops. If you're in trouble and you need a lawyer, a criminal defense lawyer, I'm going to tell you what I learned a long time ago. Call the police. You guys are like, what? No, listen to me. You need a good criminal defense lawyer. Call your local police union. Ask them who they use. Because they're going to be using somebody that is good. They're not just going to pick some Joe Schmo. Okay? They're going to use somebody that's good. And that's who you want to hire if possible. Frank, there are people that are pushing the limits a little too far, I think. And that opens you up to being harmed, and that's not a good thing. Is it possible somebody's going to get shot eventually? It's possible. It's absolutely possible. It's been possible all along. Johnny, I have been out at night. I typically don't go out at night because it's unsafe. But I do go out sometimes at night and video and do cop watching. But as far as auditing, I generally only go out in the daytime to do audits. If I do it at night, it's going to be in a well-lit area, and I am very, very cautious about what I do. Stalking, son of Eli, I saw that. I believe it or not, I actually keep track of your stuff. I remember. I do know who you are, son of Eli. Yes, we've actually spoken on the phone before. Edward Strickland. I'll actually do a video about San Joaquin and high desert here for too much longer. I'll get a video up because I got some screenshots you guys need to see and some video you need to see and some documents and yeah. I've just not been really worried about it. I have other things going on, just relaxing and taking care of business. Dun, dun, dun. I don't know anything. I mean, I know about the incident where Furry Potato got wounded by a piece of shrapnel. The officer fired, the bullet hit the sidewalk, and a piece of shrapnel hit Furry's leg. I don't know anything more about it. I've not questioned Furry about it, so I can't give you any information. Thank you, Julio. KP21, that was stupid, where they shot the UPS driver and the hostage and killed people in their cars. So there's an old saying: if you give somebody a hammer, everything looks like a nail. If you hand all these cops automatic weapons and ARs and just, what do you think is going to be the result? It's the Army during Vietnam had full auto M16s. In the early 80s, they changed them to 3-shot burst. You get single rounds, or you get 3-shot burst. The original M16 was single round every time you pulled the trigger, or when you pulled the trigger, it was full auto. So if you give these guys these toys, these types of weapons, they're itching to use them. They're itching to use them. And some of these people, and I'm not talking bad about veterans, all right? Don't take it that way. But there are veterans that are working in law enforcement that should not be there. They should not be there. I like seeing veterans get out and go to law enforcement. However, let's be honest. There are people there that don't belong. And it's not just veterans, it's just about anybody these days. Look at all the police officers that are being arrested for all these crazy things. Everything from molesting children to having sex with little dogs. And, I don't know if this is all new or if it's just coming to light now because of social media. I don't know. Let me see here. Hold on. I saw something here. M15A2, M16A1, and A2. Exactly. Demilitarize the police. Absolutely. How many fusion centers per state? Okay, I can answer that, Slurp. Every police department has an intelligence officer that provides information to the local fusion center. There'll be one fusion center in the county, and then there is a master fusion center in each state. So your lower guys report to the local fusion center, and then those fusion centers forward their information to the master fusion center. Like in Texas, we have a fusion center at Pasadena PD. We have for the county. San Antonio has it for Bexar County. Fort Worth has one. Dallas has one. But the master fusion center is in Austin. I've actually been there and audited. And then they report to the main fusion center, at Homeland Security. Brian Wagner, I don't think that things are bad everywhere. I agree with you. Things are not bad everywhere. but I think that they're getting worse. I think they're getting worse quickly. I mean, Virginia is a good answer, a good example. Dun, dun, dun. Go with me back out to the abandoned power plant. Kontiki, send me an email. newsnowhouston@gmail.com. All one word, all lowercase. It's going fast here. Yes, Billingville. I know who Billingville is. I hear that all the time. Everybody says, "You sound like Billingville." Thank you, Up North Lion. Okay, so even populated or unpopulated doesn't matter. Every police department, city department, has a designated intelligence person, officer. That person gets what they're called SORs, suspicious, SARs, I'm sorry, SARs, suspicious activity reports. So if an officer sees you taking pictures of a power plant, he comes up, he IDs you, gets whatever information he can get, gets description of your car, your license plate number, whatever. He then sends that information to the county fusion center. They then in turn forward it to the state fusion center. And the fusion centers share their information with the FBI, and they are the clearinghouse for information. Jeff Gray, honor your oath, is the most respected auditor I know of. He's a really good guy, real good guy, does good work. If you're not subscribed to Honor Your Oath, get over there and subscribe. $300 likes. Let me see. Oh yeah, we're over 300. So I guess there's only 61 cops here. 61 of them here downvoting. All right. So what is this? Somebody's blocked. I don't know who that is. I'll go over and look at the block list, and if they are, I'll clear it. What's up with the Tuttle case? We're coming up on the 1-year anniversary, and nothing's up. They let the guy out of jail, the guy that led the raid, Goins, and they're just working their way through the legal system. At some point, they expect, that there will be a trial, but I don't know when or where or how. That is, Quint, that is going to be a common thing. If you're a veteran or you're on Social Security, they're going to ask you if you have firearms in your house when you go to the doctor. Why do you think the government wants to know? Metropolitan Transit's Trex. Typically, transit systems are publicly funded, and they should have. I mean, Google Houston Metro Transit, they had a lawsuit filed, and as a result of that, you can film on trains and buses here, and it shouldn't be a problem. Generally isn't. Occasionally it happens. Um, 1D10T bill, I don't know that they will move it out of county or not. It doesn't matter. It is that whole incident has received so much publicity that it would be difficult to move it anywhere where it was not known about. So they can try to move it. I mean, I'm not going to say that, you know, this guy should not get a fair trial. He absolutely 100% deserves a fair trial. And whatever the outcome of that trial is, you know, I will respect the verdict. Yeah, I may not like it, but I'll respect the verdict. I may not agree with it, but that's our system. And there may be things going on. My opinion, based on what I hear from people within HPD, is that there's more to the story than being told. HPD is covering up a whole bunch of stuff, and I find that very easy to believe. Very easy to believe. So until I get more information, my opinion at this point is that Goins is not the only one. And I can tell you that people like Goins do not operate in a vacuum. Other people knew. The district attorney's office knew. It wasn't the first time he'd been caught planting evidence. So they allow that. They turned their head on that, didn't do nothing about that. They're just as much to blame as anybody else. He could have been stopped a long time ago. And HPD leaves these officers in narcotics for decades. Years and years and years. Most departments rotate narcotics officers every 24 months because they don't want them to become complacent and or corrupt, you know, or, you know, things like that, doing things like Goins was doing. And so they rotate those people on a regular basis. HPD, no. HPD's got the good old boy system going on. Yep, once you get in here, you're good. You're good. We're going to keep you here. And as long as you can keep your production numbers up, we're going to keep you here and keep you making money and you have that cushy job and that flashy, you know, city car, undercover car, and not have to punch a clock. And, you know how it is. It's ridiculous. You got in trouble for taking a picture there? I would contact the PIO, AOPA Trex 450. Contact the public information officer for Metro and ask them about the policy on filming and emailing. It's green tea. Your delete button was broken? Okay, Anthony. LDOM, all I know is that the anti-gunners are in full swing there in Virginia, and the pro-gunners ain't having it. I saw that thing in Hawaii. Yeah, I'm actually going to do a video about that. That was ridiculous. But, you know, look at the guy with San Antonio PD that gave the homeless guy a feces sandwich, got fired. Union got his job back for him, turns around and gives a detective a feces sandwich. He got fired for that one, too. And I don't think they're going to get him rehired. Okay, guys. I think, let's see. Thank you, Dylan. Merry Christmas, Matt. No AO. It's at Gmail. It's at Gmail. Need to get Acevedo fired? That ain't going to happen. They just re-elected the same mayor. So that's not going to happen. All right, guys. Y'all have a good upcoming weekend, and stay out of trouble. And remember that there are stupid people out on the roads. There are lots and lots of people drinking. It's that season. So y'all be careful out there. Be safe. Have a good weekend. And I will see you again soon. And get over and subscribe to my son's channel, News Now Community. And that is it. I am hitting the end of stream button. Y'all be safe.